Boom! Just like that, it's Thursday night. So you know what that means? It's party time with the Video Bros. I'm Bobby Munson, and the man beside me, the man with the angelic voice, Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, how the hell are you doing, brother?
That was a good one, Munson. I'm doing great, and I'm glad to be here on another Thursday night talking to you and talking to our great wrestling fans out here.
Yeah, I'm excited, Papa Smokes. There's a lot of cool shit going on lately. I'm very excited to talk
Yes.
about it here tonight. Lots of things going on here with Ring Respect Radio, with OLE, MLW, PPW, you name it. You got it right here on a Thursday night with your boys, the Video Bros. Speaking of PPW, it wouldn't be a PPW show without that, man. And it's not Ring Respect Radio without him either. BDJ is up in the house. Thank you for joining us again. And of course, speaking of who it wouldn't be possible without, it's Bobby Stats up in the house, bringing us stats already off the hop, saying Delmi Exo will be wrestling against Zayda Steel in a singles match and in the MLW Fusion tapings on February the 29th in a #1 contenders matchup. So Delmi looking for the opportunity to get her gold back. Zayda Steel looking for the opportunity to be a first-time champion in MLW. That should be a really good matchup, Papa Smokes.
I bet it's going to be, and we got a bunch of matches that are coming up we're going to have to talk about.
We are going to talk about a lot of the things that MLW has been dropping as of late. And we say hello to the third video, bro. Basser saying that was a good one, Munson. That's a shirt idea. And evening, guys. Basser, my man, you got to be pumped, dude. We are about 1 week and a couple days away from PPW Presents Love is Dead. And, you know, we had the Short Kings on the podcast here last week, Papa Smoke. Great having both Mars and Reed there. And go check out the Short Kings podcast, the latest, a love story that they presented this week on the Short Kings podcast. Very entertaining stuff. Go check that out right now. And I'm looking forward to seeing them in tag team action against the Brotherhood 1 week from this coming Saturday. Tag division is hot and prosperous in PPW, Pops, folks. And what are your thoughts going into it, dude? What are we thinking here? Is the Brotherhood going to be able to continue this dominance, or are the Short Kings going to find a way?
I'm not sure, Munson. I want to go with the Short Kings after the fun conversation we had with them last week. But the Brotherhood is a wave of destruction that's come upon PPW. I don't know if they can be stopped at this point, but I have all faith in the Short Kings for hanging in there, too.
I do too, man. There are boys now after being here right on Ring Respect.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I know we have to stay impartial there, Papa Smokes, as camera operators, as guys in the back, but it's a little bit tough when we've sat down and had great conversations with people who have, you know, very good similarities to us, the Video Bros. Like you said, they started off just a couple of boys having a good old time. To figure they turn it into a podcast, you know, 7 years later, look where the two of us are. Who knows, 7 years, what that'll bring for the Short Kings over on their show. But we'll see what happens to them 1 week's time from this coming Saturday. Bobby saying that he believes Zayda Steel will be the next contender for the MLW Women's Featherweight Championship. Bobby, I would not bet money against that thought. The way the company has been using Zayda, pushing Zayda, I believe that Delmi is not going to be the one contending for the gold. As much as Delmi is excellent, has done a great job in the featherweight division, I believe they see Zayda Steel as the next strong star that they have on the roster.
And it's all about momentum, and you can see that Steel developing some momentum, trying to get to the top of that featherweight division. This is a huge match for her in a fairly young career. She's got to step it up against Delmi Exo, the former champion, or she might never see another shot at that belt.
You bet. So, a few things we're going to talk about on MLW, and then we're going to get to the meat of the matter, the main topic that we want to talk about here tonight, Pop Smokes. But before we go into all that, I do want to give people a little bit of an update about the scheduling for Ring Respect Radio in the upcoming weeks. So in 1 week's time, as promised, and we've got one of the champions sitting right here in the chat, Mr. Bobby Stats. 1 week from tonight, it's going to be WTF Do We Know About Wrestling Pub Trivia Night on Ring Respect Radio. Bring your belts, bring your beers, and be prepared to answer some wrestling trivia next Thursday night right here on the show. We did originally say we were going to get back to a trip through the territories, Papa Smokes. We were looking to do that on February 29th, but MLW drops the news. We've got intimidation games that night. So, yes, Ring Respect Radio will likely be starting a little bit earlier on February the 29th to accommodate the watch-along of intimidation games. And we're going to be joined by that Canada guy, Mr. Andre C. of Andre and Melball's Japanese Wrestling Talk as we watch Intimidation Games right here on Ring Respect Radio, which means the following week after that, as we kick off March, Papa Smokes, we're going to head back. We're going to take a trip through the territories. We made a decision. We're going to go all the way over to a very close by land here in Canada known as Calgary and Stampede Wrestling. That is going to be the topic of choice for the next trip through the territories.
Extremely excited about this, Munson. We're going to get our Canadian content in right off the bat. And this is a promotion, Stampede, that's near and dear to our hearts over here in Saskatoon, because we were going, or you were going to the shows when you were a kid. That was the local promotion that we had. And look at how many stars were born in that promotion as well. So lots to talk about there, including Stu and Helen, all the boys, and all the crazy cast of characters they had come through Calgary.
Yeah, you bet. And as Bobby's saying, awesome. BDJ saying this is going to be great. Couldn't agree more. We're very excited about what we got coming up. And again, you saw it debut just last Thursday night after we went off the air. It's going to be on again tonight. The Honor Ramble. If you enjoy Ring of Honor and want to find out all the latest about Ring of Honor and their latest episode of their show, tune on in to the Honor Ramble following Ring Respect Radio right here on Twitch and YouTube. Auntie Collins is not able to attend this week, but Kyle Sparks has got Ed Fry's old Ed is going to be joining the show tonight, so you guarantee there's going to be some rambling. I don't know if it's all going to be honorable on the side of our good friend Ed Fry's, but it'll definitely be some rambling going on.
It's like the Swiss Army knife of Ole podcasts. He's got all kinds of functions, all kinds of knowledge. He can fit in on any podcast and talk intelligently about that promotion. Great podcaster, Ed.
Yeah, he really is. He's been joining me a little bit on Point of View on Sundays as well, too, bringing a lot of his knowledge of independent wrestling as well from his time hanging out over at Chaotic Wrestling, which, again, everybody, check out Chaotic Wrestling. You can get their live shows on Twitch. You could also check out their uploaded matches on YouTube following their live events as well, too. So go check them out, like, follow, subscribe. Chaotic Wrestling. But, yeah, we're going to talk about MLW here, Pop Smokes. This Sunday, you're going to be able to join myself on Point of View. I'm going to be doing the watch along for MLW's dumbest named show in history, Burning Crush. Burning Crush. It sounds like a bad Saturday night and something. Yeah, we don't want to even get into it. But anyway, Burning Crush is the name of the show, but at least it's headlined by two juggernauts. And unfortunately, one of those juggernauts, I think, might be saying his final goodbye as of this Sunday show. And this one, of course, available on YouTube for free, so everybody can check it out. But yes, Jacob Fatu is going to be going up against the returning Mods Krugger, the Black Hand of Contra. We saw Mods Krugger pretty much annihilate and almost murder Jacob Fatu right in the ring. And this Sunday, they're going to be going one-on-one. And I believe this is there's some sort of stipulation to it. It is some sort of crazy weapons, kill the other guy matchup. You know, this is the last ride for our boy Jacob Fatu.
For sure. And it's another one of those backlay weapons matches, isn't it? Because they had, was it those two or was it Krugger versus Hammerstone? Somebody had a backlay weapons match. I think it's the same thing. And it'll be good. I'm not much of a death match guy. This isn't exactly a death match. It'll be wild and violent. They'll do a good job of it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see what happens. I'll check it out this Sunday live on Point of View, of course. And Brian Carter is up in the house. How are you doing, Brian? Thank you for joining us here on Ring Respect Radio. I know Brian's going to be watching along this Sunday or whenever he decides to tune into Burning Crush. But if you want, Brian, I will be doing the watch along this Sunday on Point of View there. So tune in for that. Bobby said he's looking forward to seeing Matt Riddle at MLW Burning Crush. I believe that even the new champion is going to be taking on, if I'm not mistaken, he's against Richard Holiday on this card as well, too. So I'm surprised some of these matches were held back for these YouTube shows. So they actually seemingly are doing two events in one single night, and the other event is loaded with just as strong, if not stronger matches sometimes than the premium live events that they've been giving us.
Yeah, and I'm not going to complain when we get the good stuff on YouTube. There were times in the past years where we kind of felt spoiled by how many good matches off the tapings that they gave away free on YouTube. I will not complain about this. I will enjoy them instead.
You bet. So before we start talking about Jacob Fatu and where he might end up and what's going on with him, I want to talk about somebody who is coming back to MLW. We just got back Mods Krugger, which was, again, a great addition. Happy to see good old Mods Krugger, a.k.a. Cruel, back in an MLW ring. But Bobby Fish is returning to MLW and at Intimidation Games. He's going to be taking on the suplex assassin, Alex Kane. You know, this was brought to my attention, Papa Smokes, and I think I wanted to be a little bit more excited about this than I actually am. And I'm going to tell you my reasoning. I like Bobby Fish's work inside of a ring. The guy is a hard worker. He is a solid worker. But the last time I got excited about Bobby Fish's return to MLW, it lasted a whole, 2 matches before he buggered off to AEW. So part of me is just saying, are we just making room for another guy to come in for another couple more matches and just overlooking the fact that we have not got much of an actual consistent roster left in MLW?
Yeah, just kind of par for the course for MLW. That's part of the disappointing thing for the constant fans like you and I, is that it seems not to be a destination territory, but a transitory one. They have never really had all that many wrestlers signed to their roster, even since we've been watching since 2018 or whenever we first started. They never really had too many people. They had Fatu, Hammerstone, Holiday, the Von Erichs, and maybe a couple other people. Other than that, it's all transient workers after that.
Yeah,
we're seeing even more of that these days, and it's tough. It's tough to get the fans invested in your product when your roster doesn't just shake up; it completely turns over every few months or every year, at least, I should say, maybe something like that. But yeah, same thing with Fish. He came last time. You say he had 1 or 2 matches. I don't even think I saw him last time, so I must have missed whatever taping he was on. That was at a time. I was just going to.
Opera Cup, man. He was in the Opera Cup that year.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I did see that then.
Yeah.
I like Fish also, but again, I think he's not going to sign with MLW. They're not going to sign him. I think he's just a mercenary coming through for a couple of shots and maybe more after that, but probably not all that much more.
Yeah, you bet. And I got to get on board with this statement right here. Time for a Bud Heavy run-in, 100% anytime. Time for a Bud Heavy run-in. Couldn't agree more. Bobby mentioning that Satoshi Kojima and Okamura versus Richard Holiday and Davey Boy Smith Jr. in tag team action. Interesting matchup right there. Very much so. Again, the World Titan Federation looking to go after Kojima and this influx of Japanese talent that is coming in. You know, Kojima, the first ever 2-time MLW World Heavyweight Champion. We know the middleweight title has been held multiple times by Myron Reed, and he was the first multi-time champion in the company's history. Kojima, the first time to do it with the world title. All respect to Kojima, I was stunned by the finish, and it has me fearing, Papa Smokes, when it comes to Bobby Fish's opponent at MLW Intimidation Games. Are we seeing the last little bit of time for our boy, the suplex assassin, Alex Kane, in MLW?
Yeah, I don't even like the idea of it, because we've gotten to know Alex Kane. I mean, all of us as fans watching, we've got to know him. We've got to soak in some of that charisma, some of that riz, as the young people say these days. He's great on the mic. He's come a long way in the ring. Suplex assassin. I mean, it's so much fun watching him chuck around somebody else, but are we going to be done with this? We might be. And what kind of a deal did he have with MLW? We're not privy to that information, but the Balmaye Fight Club had a lot of momentum for a long time there. Looked like they were doing well in merch sales. All those tapings in Philly and wherever else, they were heels, and they came out to great ovation from the fans. They were heels, but they were cool enough that the fans liked them. There was a lot that could have been done with Kane and the Balmaye Fight Club, or still could be, But as you say, the question now is looming: will he stay? Hard to speculate. But Kane has made a much bigger name for himself than he had before, tremendously bigger since he's been in MLW. Lots of attention from Pro Wrestling Illustrated, all that kind of stuff. Lots of good eyeballs upon him. So his future's bright. I think he could go anywhere and succeed after this.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree. And again, I want Alex Kane to succeed. So this isn't me saying, damn, don't go anywhere, Alex Kane. I know the time, it's inevitable, it's going to happen. And if this means that there's a looming offer or potential for an offer from one of the big companies to go there and for him to live out that dream, then good on them for signing him, because Kane is a natural talent, both inside the ring and on a microphone. And I want to see him succeed. It's just, as a fan of MLW, both you and I can both agree, we want them to stay as long as they can on the side of what we're watching. And it's been great watching Kane's development from the time they announced him in the draft the one year to us seeing him come in for the very first time and tear through the roster, singles division, going through it, lighting it up, the whole thing with the Opera Cup, the open weight championship that he held very prominently, then to work his way up to that world title shot, gets it, and he had a good list of defenses with that MLW championship. So that's why the whole thing with Kojima, all due respect, it came out of absolute nowhere, and that's the only reason I'm speculating. If there had been a big enough build with a feud that I saw a title change coming, I wouldn't speculate that Alex Kane might be on the verge of going, but something tells me that a decision is being made because the direction of the company has to change, because a lot of people won't be there very much longer.
Now, that's probably pretty sound speculation too, Munson, because we've also noticed that MLW protects their champion and their big championship matches. They protect them and they build them for a long time. We've seen this again and again in the past with Fatu, even with Filthy Tom and with Alexander Hammerstone. They will keep juicy opponents away from each other. No going near each other, no touching each other for all the months before that match until they build up to it. Old school style, prize fight style. They build it, slow burn up to a raging fire. And it's worked beautifully for this company. Look at some of the numbers they did with those Fatu Hammerstone title matches. Great stuff. Creating a mystique and a desire for fans to want to see these matches in the media. So, yeah, again, it doesn't follow the way, doesn't follow form the way MLW usually does stuff, just to have a unexpected title change out of the blue.
Exactly. And I got to ask, is Kojima maybe just a placeholder to the inevitable Mods Krugger World Championship run?
Oh, wow, that's an interesting speculation, too. Possibly. I could see him being a transitory champion, but again, they're a little slim on top of the card talent at this point, too. If Kane is indeed gone, who are they going to pick?
Exactly. That's what I keep contemplating here, Papa Spokes, and hoping that they don't try to play flip-flop with the MLW World Championship, because it's something the company has never done. It's why there is a short list of world champions in Major League Wrestling. It's not a time to start, throwing that title around like it hasn't had that kind of prestige for 20 years. They need to really think about this. And again, if you're going to put it on a two-time champion, Kojima is still very, very popular with the modern day fans. He still can go for a guy his age inside that ring. He's winning over the MLW crowd. No, there wasn't a distinct hate towards Kojima for the victory over Kane. Not completely. There is some backlash. I will admit that. Some are a little bit upset by the decision. But again, it is what it is. I have no disrespect towards Kojima. I'm fine with Kojima in a position to be in the title picture. But I do feel that he is a transitional champion.
Yeah, and I get it too. I mean, if you're going to be selective and protective of your champion, you can't just put anyone in that role, right? It's got to be a main eventer that can handle the job. Kojima has showed before that he can. He's been the champ. He's got a lot of respect in Japan and in North America. America. But god damn, man, he's 50 years old or whatever. And Kane is in the prime of his career. It was a good match, and I get the booking, and I'm sure that's what they had to do to protect the title. But yeah, I feel like he's a good choice to hold the belt for now. But they got to get a legit guy in there quickly, I think, and we'll see. You think it's going to be Cruel? Hey, wow, that's interesting.
Well, I mean, looking at it, you bring Cruel back into the picture. You've already put Richard Holiday up into that picture. The only other one I'm thinking of is Davey Boy Smith Jr., because after the promo that he cut recently saying that he's not there just for matches, he's there for gold, it could be an indication that that is the direction that he is going and would be a strong fit for the World Titan Federation in terms of going after the MLW World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, yeah. My only question with Smith would be the promo. Not so good on the promos. He's all about the ring work. He's all about the fitness. He's an absolute machine when it comes to that. I've watched some of that guy's workout videos online. He's a beast. But the promo, yeah, a little clunky for me, dog. So we'll see if he gets that top spot. There's another belt he could get in this company too, though, and that might be more fitting for him.
It could be. But again, remember, they did have him lined up to face Alex Kane months ago prior to his injury. And his promo that he did in this particular case wasn't the worst I've heard from Davey Boy Smith. In fact, it's probably the best I've heard from Davey Boy Smith Jr. because it seemed edited. It seemed like it was get from this point to this point and sound like you mean it. And there was oomph in what he was delivering. So in terms of promo skills, yeah, he's not the best, but whatever he did to get to that point, or whoever got him to that point, was on point with it. It was the right direction. He had a little authority in his voice, made his claim. I want championship gold here in MLW. And that's what he's going for. Bobby saying he hopes Alex Kane stays for the MLW War Chamber. Again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Alex Kane stays for a while. And this was just the decision the company made. It just, by the nature of what we've seen in the past, it's easy to speculate that Kane could be slowing down his time with MLW and looking elsewhere. Bobby saying maybe one member of the World Titan Federation could wrestle against Satoshi Kojima after MLW Timothy. It seems that way. Again, the video just came out of Kojima slapping MSL backstage there. MSL has quite the very dramatic slow roll to the ground in the process of taking the slap from Kojima. Not exactly the best sell I've ever seen in my life. But yes, I strongly believe Davey Boy Smith Jr. is going to line up. Whether he gets that belt from Kojima, I believe that is the direction that they could be heading, is Davey Boy Smith Jr. versus Satoshi Kojima for the belt. I really don't think Murder Grandpa by any means is taking the belt at Intimidation Games. But I didn't think Kojima was taking it from Alex Kane, so I could be wrong. We could end up seeing an even older MLW champion in just about a couple weeks' time here.
God, don't suggest it, Munson, but that's just it too. They want some names that have held their belt, and there are a couple of good names from the past too. A whole bunch of good names that have held this prestigious belt, but Murder Grandpa, I don't know. He was something in his day. I remember that he used to do MMA fights, like real shoot fighting and all that stuff. He's a maniac, but again, his day is long past. His body is busted up from all of that, plus bumps in professional wrestling. He just doesn't look good in there anymore. But he's a name and he's a presence, and a lot of fans want to see him still. Cross it off the list. I saw him live, or whatever the case may be, but he holds some small drawing power still. But yeah, it would kind of pain me to see the old guy with the belt.
You bet. And now, as Bobby points out, maybe Tom Lawler could go after the MLW World Heavyweight Championship, of course. And again, a name that not only held it, but held it very, very well during his run with MLW the first time around. Would love to see more Filthy Tom on the premium live events coming up. That would be fantastic. A couple more things. With the Intimidation Games, we have Mistico taking on Rocky Romero for the title. That's going to be an interesting one. You know, Mistico, I believe, as Ed pointed out last week, the former Sin Cara of the WWE, the initial Sin Cara of the WWE, is going to be making his debut in MLW for that belt. I could go either way, but Rocky Romero has done a fantastic job, in my opinion, of holding that middleweight title and making it count lately. So my money is still on Romero to retain over Mistico in this matchup. I believe right now they are feeding opponents to Rocky Romero and making Selena De La Renta look strong in the process as well.
And Romero's loving life right now, too, because he's also getting booked with AEW. He's in a tag team or a faction or something over there as well. So lots of action for Rocky these days.
You bet. Also at Intimidation Games, Pop Smokes, the tag belts are on the line. Oh my God, I couldn't even remember who the wasn't it the crew over with Mance Warner that were tag champs? I must have missed something.
Them.
I must have missed something because I'm seeing it's a street fight. Oh no, hold on, never mind. It's not tag team. I messed up completely because I'm seeing gold around Ricky Shane Page and getting all kinds of confused. I forget, that's how little that guy's run as open weight champion has meant that I see a belt on him and I assume it's a tag belt when he's in a tag match because I can't even remember what the hell he's holding, and that's supposed to be a prestigious title in the company.
Yeah, no, and that's just I don't like letting the negativity creep in, but it's the product has fallen over the last year or so. I've got patience because I trust Court and the crew to get it going again, but we need some talent and we need some good matches going on here just to bring the level of the promotion up and the prestigiousness of those belts up a little bit.
Well, I believe you're going to end up wanting to take a Pop of Smoke break during the street fight that they've got booked for Intimidation Games as the Calling, the team of Ricky Shane Page and Sami Callihan versus Akira and Jake Christ. Oh, Jake Christ. Getting himself mixed up in a world of bad here on Intimidation Games.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't want to watch that whatsoever.
No, not me either. And of course, once again, the Calling, street fight, death match, Chamber of Horrors match, whatever it is, they have not had an actual matchup in MLW since coming to MLW. It is pandering at its best to the Philly fans, like you have said before, Papa Smokes, and it is getting on my last nerves.
Yeah, and you know when somebody does repeated death matches and gimmick matches like that, that it's probably that they can't do a regular match so great.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Take that for what it's worth.
You bet. And as Brian Carter saying, let it creep in, Papa Smokes. RSP is bad. And we agree. He's bad, but he's not nearly as bad as Sami Callihan. I'll give him that. I'll take RSP over Sami Callihan, and that isn't saying much. It's like saying you'll take the shiniest piece of turd at the turd store. Moving on from there, I want to talk about this one last little thing about MLW before we go to the Jacob Fatu news here, Papa Spokes. They are going to bring in another Japanese talent at the War Chamber. It has been announced for March 29th, the debut of Unagi Sayaka. So again, we're going to maybe have to listen to more of the Japanese wrestling update and find out more from our good friends Andre and Melball to find out a little bit about this young talent coming over to the MLW at the War Chamber.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Just like in the last couple of years, we've seen MLW use lots of guys from Lucha Libre, guys and girls, lots of wrestlers from AAA Lucha Libre. Now they're on a little kick with New Japan and a couple of other promotions from Japan. We've seen them bring in wrestlers from Dragon Gate also, and even DDT, unfortunately, but
TJPW has actually had some of the better ones coming in.
Okay, good. But New Japan now, that's a standard of excellence in Japan. That's their top stuff. So we're not going to be getting their top guys in MLW, but some of their talent, if they're signed there, you know that there's a level of talent. You know that the bar is at a certain height, and then that's good. We get to trade talent with them, just like we did with the AAA guys, and have a little fun, see somebody new, see some new moves, and some new strategies to go about having those matches that keep the fans excited.
You bet. And of course, we still haven't seen any of the potential crossover with OPW out of Australia as well, too. So that could be on the horizon very soon for the MLW crew. Bobby saying he misses Becca in MLW. We all miss Becca in MLW, Bobby. We all want Becca to return to MLW. Maybe, just maybe, her good friend Atrocity Cruel, aka Mods Krugger, who I personally recommended, do backup vocals on her next single. Maybe the connection's there. Maybe we can get them back. I mean, Becca got back to me. She thought it was a fantastic idea. She wants to have Mods Krugger do backup vocals on her next single.
That's a hell of an idea, Munson. That's a pretty wild fusion of music, though, and you don't think it'll be too grating to the nerves, or?
No. I'm looking at this as Becca brings that poppiness. Cruel has that deep, dark, almost death metal type voice. And if you transcend into some of the newer, heavy stuff here, Papa Smokes, especially some of the stuff that Bobby's been listening to, bands like Hanabi that are coming out these days are blending that kind of J-pop coming out of K-pop and stuff coming out of Japan, along with some deep, dark death metal, heavy metal blends and stuff like that. And that crossover has been very inviting. I could imagine Becca and Mods Krugger doing a kind of fusioned music style like that.
Can you imagine the hot summer fun that those two would get up to?
Hot summer fun with a little bit of hell on the side as Mods Krugger brings it to the table. Becca should be the MLW Women's Featherweight Champion. I wholeheartedly agree. That seemed to be the direction they were going. And then poof, she was gone. I mean, they've killed the momentum of that storyline. So even if she comes back, they've got to reinsert her back into that picture somehow, either by going back to that original story and retelling it, or starting fresh and going with her right back to the top.
Yeah, it was wild. She was getting over in a big way, too. The fans liked it, even though she was being quite heelish. She was funny. She did the work. And you follow her on social media, too. She pumps the gimmick all the time. She stays in character. She's making her videos. She's doing her photo shoots and everything. She works hard at this wrestling business, and that's good. I just like Bobby, I expected her to go through and have a run with that belt. So not sure what happened there. I have the feeling that was the plan, but she didn't hang around. Who knows? Things happen, and she didn't take any more bookings with them. Something must have come up, and they were unable to see eye to eye on that.
You bet. And we got Brian's got a really good question to pose to us here, Papa Smokes, that will go into our final topic of the night. So Brian, hang tight. We're going to get to you as we say hello to that Canada guy, or Canada dude, Mr. Andre C., who we've been talking about. Andre, we've been promoting it as you're going to be joining us here on the 29th of February to watch MLW's Intimidation Games with your boys, the Video Bros, right here on the channel. You can also check Andre with Ed Fries here on the channel doing Marvel Talk, Marvel Rebound, Iron Man 2 Rebound review just hit the channel this week. Awesome work by the guys, kicking ass and taking names as always. And at the end tomorrow night, remember to check out Andre and Melball's Japanese Wrestling Update right here on the channel. Again, another fantastic show right here. So Andre said tomorrow night, JWU, 9 p.m. Eastern time. So it's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, and 6. No, hold on. I'm screwing this up. Sorry. 8 Central, 7 Pacific, whatever, Mountain time. Yeah, there we go. Saskatchewan times mess me up. Come on. Let's get with
I know. We don't do daylight savings time here. That's crazy.
Yeah, we just have to follow. Are we 2 hours behind Eastern, or are we 1 hour behind Eastern? That's about all we can do to figure it out, Papa Smokes. But yeah, Andre's excited. Hell yes, can't wait. It's going to be a fun time here. Again, Andre, I will send you the details. Of course, that'll be an early start time, as I'm pretty sure that those kick off about 8 o'clock Eastern time. So go and make sure to check that out. And again, follow Andre on his channels as well, too. Andre and Melball's Wrestling Talk. You can go check that out. A lot of great work over there. But let's get to the meat of the matter here, Papa Smokes, what everybody came to talk to us about. Well, everyone's always come to talk to us about Astrid Pizarro, the natural, joining us on the show. Astrid, thank you for joining in. Happy to see you here. And let's go to Brian, because this gets us to our final topic of the night here, Pop Smokes. Brian saying, what happened to the days that you didn't know someone was a free agent until they showed up somewhere else? Your boy Hammer's free agency has meant nothing other than he isn't on MLW anymore. Will Fatu's fall into the same trap? And that is, Brian, I'm glad you brought this up, because again, this is the topic that we want to hear, because we came here to talk about this. Jacob Fatu, this came out of nowhere, Pop Smokes. I'm sitting there, I see the message. All of a sudden, it's Jacob Fatu, free agent, no longer with MLW. He's already over there working with Reality of Wrestling with Booker T. Booker T singing his praises, wanting the WWE to sign him. It seems like we knew this was on the verge somewhere, but it's been fast-tracked all of a sudden. Like that, Jacob Fatu is gone from MLW, and now all of a sudden there is the rumor that WWE could be the ones in a prime position, considering the connection with Booker T and Reality of Wrestling, to get Jacob Fatu over to their side. Huge get for the WWE if they get him. Big get for the WWE. But like Brian's saying, does it really mean much now that we've seen it? And even WWE kind of hinted at it. If you watched carefully the WrestleMania kickoff, when Roman Reigns and The Rock were showing the big list of the link up between all the family members, and right there at the bottom in plain sight, WWE had Jacob Fatu on the list. Not Zila Fatu, not any of the other ones, Jacob Fatu. And it almost felt like all the names on the list at some point in time had a connection to WWE except for Jacob Fatu. And that was the one that everybody's now circling, going, wait a second here. Is there something to this?
Yeah, it's been speculated for a long time. A great comment by Brian, by the way. He's such a smart wrestling fan. He totally gets it. But think about it, though. Since we've been watching MLW now for, what has it been, 5 years or something like that, that speculation has always been there that Fatu is too good to be on the indies. Why don't these companies snatch him up? And we knew what the rumor was all that time ago, was that there were some things in his past and some charges that had been laid and stuff like that the WWE was shying away from. Now they've got the perfect angle to insert him in, the perfect one, right? It's obviously he's part of that bloodline, and he's one of the toughest guys in it, probably, and one of the best wrestlers and one of the more vicious guys in that. But do they want him in their company when he has a past that could be considered salty by some? I don't know what their company's rules are about that sort of thing, but that's always been the rumor of why he hasn't been there all this time. So it begs the question, do they sign him and not worry about that stuff, or do they not sign him? We don't know. There's no way that we can know that exactly, but I love the hint that he was on that family tree there. Isn't that delicious? A little hint there too that they dropped, and man, they should do it. But how long is this bloodline story going to go on? How many guys are they going to ship in to work on it? We don't know any of this, so it's all speculation at this point. But what a great get it would be for WWE to have him on their TV.
Oh, guaranteed it would be. As Bobby saying he'd love to see Jacob Fatu sign with TNA or New Japan Pro Wrestling. Andre clearly would love to see Jacob Fatu over in New Japan Wrestling. I think there'd be some great action there. Ed coming in. Ed Fries is going to be joining Kyle Sparks on the Honor Ramble following us here tonight. Ed, how are you doing? Saying if Fatu goes somewhere, he is headed to WWE. I would tend to side with Ed on this one, based on what we've seen, what we've heard, the speculations. Even when we interviewed Joseph Samael, the close counterpart to Jacob Fatu, alluded to us that there was big things in store for Jacob Fatu this year. In fact, he mentioned it right to us that Jacob Fatu was working on something. There was something coming. It was going to be coming up in the upcoming year. So we have waited that time. We have now seen it happen. He is now gone from MLW. He is a free agent. He's over there working with Booker T, Reality of Wrestling. I got to imagine Ed is correct and WWE bound is he. Whether or not they put him into that bloodline, I mean, they put him on that list doesn't mean they have to include him in the bloodline storyline. Jacob Fatu, I think, would be great to go in there and carve a path of his own, in my opinion.
Sure. I'm reading Ed's comment here too. Fatu's charges were not like any of those ones right there.
Yeah.
But, the ones you go to jail for. Yeah.
But again, I believe that it was a lot of it was about being able to cross the border and stuff like that when it came to Jacob Fatu. But I imagine that with the WWE and TKO Sports and all the money and the power they have behind, let's not kid ourselves. Is the UFC completely clear of all criminal charges and violent acts that have happened?
For sure.
We're talking the same business people that are behind the UFC that have probably got a lot of things overlooked for their fighters to be able to cross borders and stuff too. So I wouldn't put it outside the realm of possibility that these people could work very heavily to eliminate all those problems from Jacob Fatu's past.
Yeah. Again, it's only speculation. I don't know what their standards or protocols are about that kind of stuff. This was simply a rumor that we had heard years ago when people were asking, why is Fatu still on the indies? He's too talented for that.
Yeah. As Asher's saying, what I love about free agents is the surprise when they show up somewhere else. And again, that's kind of what we were getting at with what Brian was saying. And it seems to be gone when they announce it, when the dirt sheets get a hold of it, or anybody can get a hold of that news and they bring it forward. You're not surprised when they show up somewhere. And again, hearing Booker T sing the praises of Fatu and him working in Reality of Wrestling, somehow the surprise element of him showing up there might be completely out the window. Now, if he shows up somewhere else entirely, that could lead to a little bit more surprise. I think the expectation is WWE. The only element surprise for Fatu is if he went somewhere else and nobody said a damn word about it in the process.
Yeah, well, good luck for that one, right? Like nowadays, if you're going to go to a big wrestling show and you want any kind of a surprise whatsoever, you better stay off social media for a full week before that. Not even have a peek, not hear a peep of anything. Because they will spoil it for you. Those guys that work for some of those sheets just say, yeah, he's backstage, she's backstage, or she's working out with her friend, or they're already there. We saw them arrive, and it's just that. For God's sakes, man, we can't have any fun anymore.
We really can't. So we'll wait and see. We'll play the waiting game. We'll see where Jacob Fatu goes. But I mean, all the best to him as always, Papa Smokes. We love his work. Again, I'm not going to stay away from watching Jacob Fatu matches. If he ends up in WWE, then I'll have a reason to turn on Jacob Fatu matches in WWE. Not saying I'll turn on WWE, just Jacob Fatu matches WWE. But it depends. Again, they've got some good people there. They've got some interesting stuff. I'd like to see him go over to the NXT side. Personally, I think that he could use some time in NXT to hone that craft and work with some of the people there. I think it would be fantastic. Bobby saying he'd like to see Zayda Fatu come to MLW. Yeah, and I believe if Brother Jacob's heading somewhere else, that Zayda might not be far behind too. And again, here's an opportunity to add to a tag division. If you wanted to put Zayda and Jacob Fatu together in a tag team, especially to start them off, because we're saying about how big a signing this is because we know how great Jacob Fatu is, but let's not kid ourselves. We are a very niche portion of the wrestling community that understands and knows Jacob Fatu. His debut, we can think big about it, but I don't necessarily think that the mass amount of fans that watch WWE are very familiar with Jacob Fatu or very much his brother Zayda at this point.
Oh, yeah. The casual wrestling fan has no idea who Jacob Fatu is at this point, but like you were saying, he probably will have to spend some time at the Performance Center because he doesn't know how to wrestle, but because he knows how to wrestle, They'll have to grind the creativity out of him. They'll have to beat the indie wrestler out of him. They'll have to limit his move set and to get him into that WWE McDonald's type factory where everybody's cut from the same mold and everybody does the same moves and everybody wrestles the same roster all the time. It's sad to me, but I do wish him all the success, and I hope he goes up there and gets some big paydays.
Yeah, and again, that's what it's all about as a wrestler, is being able to make it to the big time, being able to make some money and make a good living for you and your family. And we hope the best for Jacob Fatu. He's done nothing but give us years of entertainment over in MLW and left his mark there. And hey, you know, that door is always going to be welcome open to him if he ever isn't with one of the big guys and he decides to hit those indies again one day. Jacob Fatu will be an even bigger name returning to MLW at that time. Papa Smokes, I believe that's going to bring us to an end of talking about MLW, talking about Jacob Fatu, and bring an end to Ring Respect Radio. As we mentioned, next Thursday night, for those that weren't in the chat earlier, we are bringing you WTF Do We Know About Wrestling Pub Trivia Night next Thursday right here on the channel. And then on February the 29th, the live watch-along of MLW's Intimidation Games. We'll have a special start time. Stay tuned to all social media to find that out. And then at the beginning of March, we're going to take a trip through the territories as we head to Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and Stampede Wrestling. That's what's coming up on Ring Respect Radio in the upcoming weeks with myself and Papa Smokes. You can always join us on Saturdays at Prairie Pro Wrestling and Prairie Pro Wrestling. 1 week from this Saturday, live again in Saskatoon. PPW presents A Love Is Dead. And it's going to be great, Papa Smokes. Hopefully, the influx of cash from Love Is Dead are going to be able to help us pay for the Papa Smokes sticker. Let them know, brother. Where can they find you?
Oh, come on. That's not enough money to pay for the ticker. My God, Munson. At any rate, I can be found on social media, more specifically on Elon Musk's free speech wonderland known as X. I am at smokes_papa, and then I'm also on Twitch at papa_smokes_.
That's awesome. That's where you can find Mr. Papa Smokes. As for myself, there I am, Bobby Munson. That is the socials where you can find myself. You can also find me right here in our local establishment, rocking this channel this Sunday with Point of View. You're going to be able to join me for the watch along of MLW's Burning Crush. Yes, the most ridiculous name of MLW's history, but that is what they've got going on. Check me out this Sunday there. And again, back this next Thursday right here for Ring Respect Radio as I ask the questions, you answer them, and you try to go after those coveted Ring Respect Radio Twitch chat and YouTube chat champions. Bobby, bring your belt. Hopefully, Dare Amazing shows up, brings the belt over on the Twitch side, and we'll see if we can crown new champions or if we'll see some retaining happen on the channel. Can't wait for that to happen. We are going to be heading on over to Heel Kevin for a short bit here on the channel, and then we're going to be going over to the Honor Ramble at just moments here with Ed and Kyle Sparks, as opposed to any other TV wrestling product. Papa Smokes. Ed, good point. What is the topic this week so I can study? I must have missed something on that one. Topic this coming third. I get you. Okay, I clued in now. Finally, Ed, clued in. Don't worry, I will get the advertising out early, and I will give a sneak peek into what the topic is for the trivia this week. Thank you for clarifying the trivia. I got you. But head on over to watch Ed and Kyle Sparks bring you all the best in the Honor Ramble coming up in just moments here on our local establishment. For myself and Papa Smokes, we will see you next Thursday night. Take care, everybody.